Hey everybody, hope your day's going well. We are back with another reaction and we're going to watch a video of the Bright Side YouTube channel, which is a great channel with a lot of interesting videos. This is one of them. Link to the original is in the description. This is 15 things invented for totally different purposes. Excited to see what items or what things will be in here. I know some things, are kind of invented by accident, like was Coca-Cola not a medicine first and then they kind of changed it up, or it started that way, or like the tartatin, that dessert which they kind of dropped on its head and then it kind of, that's how it got famous, and then, you pretend like nothing happened. This is working as intended. Let's see.
15 things invented for totally different purposes.
I'm seeing the cola right there.
We used to think everything has its purpose. However, many items we use every day were once used quite differently. Here's the history of ordinary things to see what purpose they served before becoming what we know them to be. I bet you can't guess what pillows and high heels were originally designed for.
Murder weapons? I don't know.
Number 15. Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I knew about that one.
Coca-Cola has a kind of fascinating history. Pharmacist John Pemberton, a veteran of the American Civil War, made a concoction out of cola nuts and coca leaves. He recommended it to soldiers taking morphine for wounds to treat their nervous system. Later, he got a business going with a soft drink, but then sold all his shares. The new owners started producing Coca-Cola with coca leaves cleared of cocaine.
Boo.
Number 14.
It's quite the invention, right? Because it's almost, I wouldn't, it's not like a blanket statement here, but it's almost like made its way into every home in the world, pretty much. Like it's quite crazy when you think about that.
Black dress.
What? Black dress is a black dress. You wear it.
Every woman should have a little black dress, right? Up until the 1920s, black clothes were commonly worn as a symbol of mourning, and for at least 2 years. Then, in 1926, Coco Chanel sewed her famous little black dress called Chanel's Ford by Vogue in memory of her beloved. At first, it was noted by movie divas, and then the dress became popular worldwide. Number 13. Karaoke.
Huh?
Daisuke Inui, a Japanese rock musician, played for visitors of a cafe who wanted to sing in between the band songs. One evening, he wasn't able to be there, so he gave his colleagues a tape recording with his part. Then, in 1971, he invented the machine that played music without the vocals, so the musicians relaxed while the public enjoyed singing to the beat.
Cool. I never knew the origin story of karaoke.
Number 12.
Oh,
Play-Doh.
My mom never let me have it. Oh, get out of here with this disgusting stuff. I did have a little bit, though. My daughter had a lot of it. I'm glad that phase is over. It gets
This
everywhere.
substance had initially been used to clean wallpaper in houses equipped with fireplaces that accumulated soot. With the emergence of vinyl wallpapers, easily cleaned with a sponge, the cleanser lost its primary purpose. Then, a relative of its inventor, a nursery school teacher, gave this putty-like substance to children to play with. They were overjoyed. Later, the detergent was removed from the substance, replaced with a colorant, and the thing received its modern name, Play-Doh.
Huh? We learned it.
Number 11. Treadmill. The prototype of a modern treadmill was created by Sir William Cubitt in 1818 to do something with idle prisoners, using their muscle power to mill grain. The prisoners held onto a horizontal handrail and walked a sort of endless staircase.
That's more like the Stairmaster.
Number 10. Post-it notes. Dr. Spencer Silver was in the process of inventing a permanent adhesive, but the resulting glue wasn't strong enough and objects unstuck with ease. Then his colleague, Arthur Fry, proposed using this adhesive to anchor his bookmarks in his hymn book. Soon, sticky papers for notes appeared in shops and are still used worldwide.
I never knew this. All right, that'll see, you know.
Number 9. Bubble
That's
wrap.
ingenuity right there, creativity.
The famous bubble wrap was invented by
where's my
engineers
car?
Alfred Fielding
It's
and
been a
Mark
while since I've
Chavans
seen it.
in 1957. It was initially to become a three-dimensional plastic wallpaper, but the idea didn't
Really?
quite work out.
No way.
Still, the inventors noted that the material could be used for packaging, and soon the patented bubble wrap became indispensable in various areas.
Yeah, it's only fun to burst the bubbles. That's the primary use.
Number 8. Vaseline.
Where is this going?
In the mid-19th century, oil field workers always fought the waxy substance that accumulated in the oil rig pumps. The British chemist Robert Cheeseborough, though, saw an opportunity. He took a part of this petroleum jelly, did some research, and found that it had useful properties. As a result, the range of its use in those early years became very broad, from curing wounds to cleaning carpets.
Really? Huh.
Number 7.
Slinky?
Slinky.
Why was a slinky invented? I still
Slinky
don't
was
know.
actually not a kid's toy initially. Richard T. James, a naval engineer, was once working on a means for suspending sensitive shipboard instruments and accidentally dropped a tension spring that crawled away merrily. That's when the idea for a children's toy was born, and soon Slinky
okay.
appeared in shop windows.
That's cool.
James Spring and Wire Company has sold more than 300 million of these toys.
Wow, 200 million in my home. They keep getting stuck. I gotta buy new ones. Nestled.
Number 6. Listerine. Joseph Lawrence invented this antiseptic in 1879 to clean surgical instruments. It was even named after surgeon Dr. Joseph Lister. However, people saw its potential and started using it everywhere, treating wounds, dentistry, curing dandruff and fungi, and even as a deodorant.
Really?
It became wildly popular in
Listerine
the
as a
20s when the
deodorant.
first advertisement came out for Listerine. A girl was turning away from her fiancé with bad breath and asking herself, can I be happy with him in spite of that?
Man, I'm learning a ton here.
Number 5. Viagra.
I heard they would sink a whole crate of that in the sea so they could rise up the Titanic. That's from The Sopranos.
Pfizer was developing a cardiac disorder treatment, but the
Right.
clinical
I
trial
knew
showed
about
the new
this.
medication was quite useless in this regard. However, an unusual side effect was noted. The substance strongly affected the blood flow in the pelvic region. Thus, the famous aphrodisiac was born.
Cool. Yeah, but in medicine it happens more often, I think, doesn't it? Like with the Ozempic and all of that, you know, there's kind of a side effect, and then people want a side effect or some type of antidepressant. Sometimes have the sleep-inducing side effect, and then it's kind of used as a sleep medicine. So I think in medicine it's much more common. But yeah, I'm learning. I knew about this one, and I knew about the Coca-Cola one. The other ones were all new so far.
Number
Microwave.
4.
Oh yeah,
Microwave.
I've heard about this.
Few people know that the microwave oven as we know it was not invented on purpose. A Raytheon employee, engineer Percy Spencer, had been testing radar equipment and noticed that microwaves from an active radar melted a chocolate bar in his pocket.
Damn,
Percy saw an
that's
opportunity
insane.
in this and put some corn into the magnetron, and it started to pop immediately.
Wow.
That was the discovery of the century. Number 3.
Now
Pillows.
I'm curious.
In Mesopotamia, pillows were an attribute of wealthy people, while hard headrests were used to keep bugs and insects out of people's hair and face. In ancient China, it was believed that soft pillows were useless, while hard headrests made of bamboo, jade, porcelain, wood, or bronze gave strength and protection.
Can you imagine sleeping on this? I don't know what's better. I'm not a medical sleep expert. You know, too soft is obviously not good. Too hard, you know, I don't know. Look at this. Sound. It looks painful.
Protection from demons.
Have you tried it?
Number 2. Tea bags.
Hmm?
In 1904, Thomas Sullivan, a tea and coffee importer from New York, decided to sell tea with more style by pouring it into silk bags. His customers found the novelty appealing, but for quite another reason. It turned out to be more convenient to brew the tea right in the porous bags. As a result, sales skyrocketed, and the idea became universally popular. Number 1. High heels. In ancient Egypt, high heels were a sign of the status of high officials who wore high-heeled footwear to religious rituals. This included both men and women. Such shoes were also favored by butchers to avoid walking in blood,
walking on this.
while Persian equestrians used high heel to hold on when shooting their bows. In medieval Europe, high heels were a privilege of the aristocracy, becoming more popular later. Finally, in the 20th century, the famous stiletto heels were invented.
Interesting.
Which story has impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the
Yeah, there was a lot of learning there. Impressed me the most. I don't know what did impress you the most. You know, it's just, you know, even if people try to invent something, you see, it's really cool. Then, you know, if it fails or their goal, their original goal, is not how they intended it to be, but they do see that opportunity for another usage. You know, like how many of these things were discarded that people didn't see that other opportunity, or how many do we still have to discover in that way? But like the Slinky, for example, you know, just dropping something. Hey, we might have something here. Or the microwave. You know, if he hadn't had a chocolate bar in his pocket, you know, what was he doing with a chocolate bar in his pocket? Was he disappointed that he couldn't eat the bar? You know, he's looking forward to it after lunch. You know, I'm gonna have this chocolate bar now. Oh, no. But if he hadn't had one, maybe it would have been later. Who knows? I don't know. So that's it's very cool to think about. Yeah, and I learned a lot. Thank you for checking it out with me. Hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.